Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is what we have been freaking waiting for. These tires to come in for the mini bike. We already had this package, but we've been waiting for these. This has been the main part of our build here. Now, we kind of had these about a week or so ago, and then we needed these tires. But what this is sitting on is this mower. This mower we got, we were given to because it doesn't run. So stay tuned for that video. I'm waiting on parts. I'm sorry for the background noise. We were waiting on parts of that mower. But today we're going to be working on the motor probably. We're going to see how much we can get done on this thing. That's not good. We're going to be seeing how much we can get done on this thing because it's all torn apart, and I'm going to start with the motor first because I have the motor parts that I need, and then we'll do changing the tires on the rims, and then hopefully getting this whole thing reassembled again. Oh yeah, and I forgot we got to do bearings. So yeah, hopefully we can get this thing reassembled again and get this thing ripping. So let's get to it. And anyways, I already forgot. My name is Jake, and welcome back to another Motorworks Garage production. We're working on the mini bike. Let's get to it. We gotta move this from over here because I don't have enough room because of the dirt bike, and we can't work on the dirt bike because I've got this mower that I showed you guys before that is in the way. So we're gonna be doing the motor today. Hopefully we can get the motor and the tires done and get this thing put back together. And then next year or whatever, we'll do the paint and everything like that because I want to get a sandblaster and a powder coater so we can do all that and make it actually fresh. So yeah, we're going to get our motor parts pulled out of here and make this motor work. So what's going on with this motor is it's been sitting, I left the fuel on, and the carb is all dirty. So we're going to be pulling the carb apart. I have let me pull out my actual parts that we got here. Alright, so we have a clear valve cover and gasket and breather for changing out the valve springs, and then we have 18-pound and 22-pound valve springs. So I don't know which one I want to go with. I think I was going to go with 18 to begin with, but I don't know if the 22 will make any difference, so I'm going to go with the 18. If we're having issues, I'll bump it up to the 22. But we were having some issues with this thing starting. The carb is dirty, and I want to pull this whole carb off, and then that'll give us more room to access the valve cover and get the springs off. So we're going to pull this off first and see what we can do to get the carb off and get that sucker cleaned. And after that, we're going to put some valve springs in this puppy, and hopefully this sucker will run. Alright, got the breather box off here. Now I'm going to pull off the gas line, hopefully. It's pretty corroded and gross. Alright, we've got the fuel draining into our fuel bucket right here. All this bad gas. I'm going to get this linkage off the carb, and we should be able to slide the carb right off the motor here. Alright, so since the gas is draining, we're going to pull off the valve cover here. There's just 4 screws. Pull this off. There's going to be this and a gasket. This has never been pulled off before, and I've been running it for, I don't even know, 2 or 3 years. So the gasket's probably going to be stuck. We're probably going to have to scrape the gasket off to get the new one on there and seat correctly. So let's get to it. Alright, we got the 4 screws off. Let's pull this valve cover off if we can. Oh, there it goes. Be very careful. This thing hasn't ran in a little while. Oh, it's coming right off. Dang. That's crazy. I've never even seen that happen before. It came right off. That's perfect. We're not going to reuse it though. We have a new one. But it's sweet because it's all clean. So, yeah, that is really nice. Alright, so I probably should have done this before I even pulled the cover off, but I forgot you got to get the spark plug out so you can stop the piston from moving up and down to be able to get those out. Because I went and tried to do it and I forgot that they start moving. So, yeah, pull out your spark plug before you do any of this because you might get dirt in your motor or something. So learn from my mistakes. And then normally you can put like a loom or some string or something like that down on the piston. It's pretty dark. So that you can get the piston to stop. So once you turn the actual piston where it won't go up and down on it, right now it's at the bottom of the stroke, and then once it comes up, you'll get it to compress everything, and those will not go down, so you can get your springs out. Alright, both of them are loose. So I didn't realize that it was a screw on, so we're going to have to get these off. All right, there are 2 lock screws there. Now I'm going to pull out the push rods here so I don't lose those in the motor. That was super close. I caught that just like that. Holy snap. All right, so on the springs there is you got to push down on it here, and then you got to get the 2 actual like washers out. So it's kind of tricky. I might do it off camera just because I'm kind of in an awkward angle, but you got to push those actual springs down to get the actual washers out of there. So then you can pretty much use a magnet. You push down on the spring, use a magnet, and then it pulls. Once you get tension off of them, it pulls the magnet will pull each of the washer out so you can get the actual spring out. All right, so I just turned the motor so it's locked up and compressing all my string down in there. So now I'm going to take this magnet and see if I can get them to push down. Yup, that one's going. It's going to be kind of tough. All right, I don't know if you can see it, but both of them fell out. I'm going to get that one first so it doesn't fall. All right, the spring is just sitting in there. All right, I guess we're going to pull it out here. There's a spring and seat. Here's the first clip. Then down here is the second one. Now let's see if we can get this right side out. All right, so we finally got both of our springs off. These are going to be my 18-pound valve springs, and I kind of had to do some I don't know, wizardry here. I actually had to call my buddy and see what he did because I couldn't get them off the way with the string. I've never had an issue with that before. So if you can see down here, I have a Allen key coming out of the socket here, of the spark plug socket, and I literally just felt around for this push rod there until I could pull on the Allen key and then push on the actual spring and cap with a socket to get it loose. So it's kind of weird. You got to kind of, finagle it, but it worked, and we got them off. So with both of them sitting here now, hopefully we can get them back on. We're going to see what we can do here, and I'm not for sure if we're going to be able to get these suckers on, but I'm going to take off these 2 keepers for now and see if I can get this spring and get these keepers back on here. So I'm going to kind of finagle my way in here again. I might have to turn off the camera and move it. Alrighty guys, so I was going to do a simple valve, valve spring change, upgrade from the stock valves to the 18-pound valves. But of course, I dropped one of my half-moon valve shim keepers down this little tiny hole right here. So I think it leads to the, well actually I know it leads to the crankcase because I asked a forum on Facebook and they said it leads down to the crankcase. So what we have done is take off my clutch. That was a pain in the butt. I had to use a whole bunch of PB Blaster, and when I was shaking it down here like this, the engine, of course, it disconnected finally after using pullers and just a whole bunch of mess over here, pullers, and getting it off. And I didn't ruin it. Hopefully I didn't. It still spins and everything. So yeah, but I dropped it on the ground and dented my gas tank, and a whole bunch of paint came off. So now we're at the point of taking the actual side cover off. So hopefully we don't ruin the gasket, which I probably already jinxed myself because then I'm gonna have to order a new gasket. So yeah, what I thought was gonna be a sweet and easy quick valve valve spring change turned into a disaster. So let's see if we can get this actual cover off. I just want to update you guys to tell you what's going on because yeah, it shouldn't be taking this long at all. But yeah, we got stuff everywhere, bolts just everywhere. So I don't know. Let's see if we can get this cover off. It will be an absolute miracle if we get this thing off without ripping it. Hopefully I didn't rip anything. Did I? There's this spot right there and that spot. So here and here, of course it's got to be on the bottom too. I don't know. We'll put it back together and hopefully it'll glue itself back together, which is not likely, and I don't recommend doing that, but I don't know what else to really do. And I don't see that hole going down in the motor either. Hey! I found it! It's in the bottom of the motor! I actually got it! I cannot believe I just found that. Oh my gosh! Well, let me put the cam back in. God, what a rookie mistake. I can't even believe I just did that. Let me put this cam back in. My gosh. Alright, there's the cam. I got the shim. Oh my gosh, what a disaster. Let's put this back on. Hopefully this seals back up. If not, We're gonna have to order one of these. We should probably already order one just in case. I don't have any case sealer either. At least I got it. This is what we're looking for right here. Little half moon spacer there. I tried to skip a step and not use my zip ties, and it cost me. I learned from my mistakes. I even ruined my magnet. So we got our half moon shim out. I don't know what else to call them. That's what I like to call them, is those half moons. But what I would actually recommend you doing, instead of trying, you know, to skip a step like I always try to do, you know, and it always screws me, is take your spring, and I know it will get stuck in that bottom piece. I know, I've already been through it. But take your spring and you slide your zip tie through each side to compress your spring to get it to shrink and get smaller, so then you can actually get it around your valves. So when you tighten it down, you're going to have to, on this one side, just like this, the bigger side, I take my needle nose and I just reef on it to get it to shrink. Just like that. See it? It's compressed. It's compressed a little bit. I'll get it as tight as I can absolutely get it. It went some more, so there you guys go. You can see it some more. It's kind of like compressed on the one side. Then you go to this other side and you do the exact same thing, but it's going to be on the smaller side because you don't got enough coils to wrap it around. And then what I also will do is cut the ends off as close as I can get them so they're not in your way, just like that. Take your hat and your 2 half moons and slide them in there. Don't lose them. For the love of God, please don't lose them. They sit in there just like that. Then when you put this in here, I literally just put my finger right over the top of it and slide it right over the top of the valve. And it's going to be kind of hard, but see how it sits in there now? And then all you got to do, since that spring is compressed, you just take your thumbs and you just push down on the spring and you get one to go down on it, if it'll go. The other one is so much easier. This one's just been a pain in the butt this entire time. I think my valve went down a little bit. It sure did. And I don't have anything down in the cylinders anymore because I didn't have enough room for everything, and jolting my engine around trying to find this and making it shake so I can hear it. Alright guys, I had to stop it because I had to get all my fingers in there and stuff, but finally, once you have the actual zip ties in there, it compresses it, and just enough to where once you get one in, you can pretty much put the other one in and then push them both down. So I had to just stop it because I had to get in, like get up close and push into it and stuff. But yeah, so once you get done, do not forget to cut your zip ties out of the way and then pull them out. So I'm going to go with the 0.06. So right now it is pretty loose. So you just tighten up this bottom set screw, not the nut on the top. That's what locks everything down, just so it gives a little bit of tension. And if we tighten it, I'm going to say that is good right there. Alright, so I got it to the 0.06 because it was kind of tough to get actually finagled in there, because sometimes when you tighten this down, the top nut, it will push the actual push arm down. So yeah, you kind of gotta, you know, play with it and stuff and make sure that it won't tighten down and stuff. So, you know, just adjust this bottom nut, the 14 millimeter one, like so slightly a little bit, then tighten this top one down a little 12 millimeter or 10, I'm sorry, the 10 millimeter, and then see if you can get your actual shim in there. And if you can, then that's great. This took me like 3 or 4 times to actually like get it right, and it will actually like move. So just like that. So yeah, and then the exhaust side is going to be, I think it calls for 0.07, or I'm sorry, 0.08, but I'm going to do 0.07 just because the motor's cold. All right, and they're adjusted, so we can put this brand new cover on here. Get your 4 bolts. And once we get these on, I'm going to take off the carb and clean the carb. All right, we're going to zip these two 10mm off here and pull the carb off and get that cleaned. And once that is clean, we can install this thing and see if it'll fire up. So I think we got to pull a linkage off here to get the actual carb off. And we can go from there. We're about to pull out this bowl. Man, today's just not my day. I tell you what, I'm like dropping and just ruining stuff everywhere. Alright, let's pull this bowl off. Oh yeah, look at all that crud. Can you see all that crud in there? All that crud in there. Oh yeah, all on the bottom. There's definitely a clogged jet. I can already see it. Let's get to cleaning this puppy. Alright, carb's cleaned. Let's get this thing back on the bike. These things are literally the easiest carbs to clean. There's literally one jet and just like a couple holes that you got to clean, and that's about it. But yeah, let's get this sucker back on the motor. We'll clear case the last one because this whole vent right here comes out off the side and it's super, super close to the motor. So it's probably going to end up melting that, and you know, my luck, it's going to go down in there. But we're going to give it a shot and see what happens. So let's put this carb back on here. There's one linkage and a gasket that's already on there. And we got to put this linkage on here. So if this will go back on, this linkage goes right on here like so. Just like that. Slide that all the way in. Put your fuel line back on. And you have an outside gasket here. Make sure you put that on the right way as well. Alright, so we have our linkage. And we have this outside gasket. We already have an inside gasket. You want to make sure that your fuel line is on correctly. Take your needle nose. And you can use the clip. I'm going to leave mine off just for now because if I have to take this thing apart, I don't want to take it and have to get that thing back on there. You're going to want to take your actual cover here. Slide your cover back on. Make sure your arms, oops, I'm sorry, there we go. This arm has got to be in the middle. Your choke arm has got to be kind of sitting in the side. Alright guys, so my GoPro died, but all we were doing was putting this housing back on for the air filter. So all you got to do is put those two 10mm nuts back on and put your air vent going up to your gas tank. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So we're going to see if we can fire this thing up. First we got to get oil because we had to dump out all the oil because we lost one of our half moon shims. And yeah, we got to put some gas in it and see if this sucker will run. So let's get to it. Now this isn't the ideal spot that I'd like to start it at, but this is the only place I have right now. So we've got the switch on, we've got on the choke, we've got our fuel on. Let's start pulling and see if it clunks and shatters or if it fires right up. This would be nice. The actual spark plug boot. Put that on there so we got some spark. Well, hopefully it, I mean, I don't know what'll happen now. I don't know if I flooded it or what. Choke off. Yeah, this thing runs. All right, I don't want to keep it on the floor too long, make it vibrating stuff on the floor. But yeah, this thing is sweet. I can't believe it actually runs. I'm surprised I actually did that right. All right, guys, so we actually got this thing to run. I'm not going to touch the exhaust just because it's hot, but I want to give this thing a once over. Now, this thing, I've been running this same motor for, I think, maybe 2 to 3 years now, just beating the absolute heck out of it. I cut all the wires off in the front, you know, I have my kill switch and stuff. You know, this thing's been through it all. I have the governor removed, and the whole main reason why I want to do the valve spring upgrade back here to do the 18-pound valve springs is because I have the actual governor out. So I just took the governor out, and when you get to really high speeds, it just starts clicking and clacking and just ticking time bomb about to explode. So yeah, that's why we want to do the upgraded valve springs to hopefully, you know, fix that problem. And if we have to go bigger, we're going to go to the 22s. And I think that's as high as I can go on a stock cam and all that stuff for a stage 1. I don't even have an upgraded exhaust or nothing. I literally just took the governor out. I have upgraded valve springs now. So yeah, we got the plastic cover on right here. And this little rubber part is probably not going to last very long here. If you guys can see the actual like crankcase vent, the hose is probably not going to last very long because there's like literally 1/4 of an inch in between that and the actual exhaust. So that's probably going to get hot and start pulling in air and all that stuff. So we're going to probably have to go back to the old one, but I kind of like it. And this right here is our kind of, just to keep it away from it, we got some zip ties on there. So everything else seems to be pretty good. It runs great. Idling, it runs great too. And then once we actually get the throttle going and stuff on the mini bike and get that put back together, we should have this sucker going. So yeah, and then 2, I do want to get a new side cover gasket here because like you guys saw, I kind of ripped the bottom, but it's not leaking and everything's all good. So I think we're gonna leave it for now and just run it. And then once I actually order a gasket and stuff, we'll put it back on there. But if I see a whole bunch of oil and stuff, then I'll probably change it. But for now, we're just gonna leave it. And yeah, or I might just get some gasket makers. So who knows? I don't know what's going to happen, but I want to put the centrifugal clutch back on, and then we're going to be able to put this back on the bike. But first, I want to get the wheels and tires done, so it's probably going to be on the next video because this took way too long for what I was expecting. It took absolutely like double the time because of that mishap that I had. So everything doesn't go perfect here at the Motorworks Garage. Some things happen, and luckily that was a big mistake turned into a like good save, just because I ended up having to, you know, pull off the side case. I didn't want to do it, but it had to happen. So we ended up getting this thing running. I was surprised that we even got it running tonight because of what happened, but it happened. So next video, we're gonna be putting these tires on. We've got, like I showed you, we've got our new tires here. So I haven't really taken any of these apart, and I don't know how hard they're gonna be, but I think these got tubes in them. I'm not for sure though, I've never had them off, but these ones over here are tubeless. So these are gonna work nice. So yeah, once we get those on, we can put those on the mini bike and get this thing built back. And yeah, we can actually run it. So I'm actually gonna keep the paint stuff for 1 more year because I don't have time for it. It's already almost May, and I want to be able to have this thing up north riding it as well as this. We got all of our parts in for this too, so this is going to be another video coming for the YZ250F. So yeah, I'm gonna leave the bearings and leave the paint, the ugly paint on here for 1 more year, and yeah, it's gonna have brand new tires. We're gonna have pretty much a new motor. I mean, the thing works great, other than lovely dent that I put on the side of it. I don't know if you can even see it. If I turn it around here, you guys can. There's the lovely dent that I dropped the motor on the ground with. So yeah, I mean, other than that, guys, this mini bike is going to be rolling hopefully by this weekend. So stick around, guys, stay tuned. We got a whole bunch of cool stuff coming for the mini bike. We got a whole bunch of cool stuff coming for the 250. We're gonna get that lawnmower going, so stay tuned for that video because I've already got the video going. I'm just waiting on parts. So yeah, we got a whole bunch of cool stuff coming. If you like what you see, subscribe to the channel. If you guys have any questions on anything I do, especially on this Harbor Freight stuff, the Predator 212, this is the non-Hemi. I don't know if you can get the Hemis anymore, but all I see is the non-Hemis. But yeah, if you guys have any questions on this thing, drop a comment down below. Throw a like on there, and yeah, guys, this has been a phenomenal video. It's been eventful, and I'm tired, so I'm gonna go edit this video and hopefully get it up by tomorrow morning on Sunday. So all right, guys, I will see you on the next video. Catch you later.